a certain way, and I was like, I cannot do this. So I came back home, licked my wounds, felt like my degree and background was over with. I was not I didn't get a degree in journalism. I wasn't a face for the camera, so I didn't have a pretty boy look. I was chunky monkey. I wasn't going to television as an on-air personality for the news, or anything else. It was just a bust. And what I realized in doing that is that I went in and got a conventional degree in psychology, and I thought my expertise was wasted, plain and simple. I would later start helping churches that would ask, hey, you got a degree in media and broadcasting, could you help our church? And so I would get friends of mine and we would go in and do teams and we would train churches. And I've worked with some of the most iconic ministries in America helping them. Most of these were large scale churches we trained everybody, the lighting guy, the video guy, the audio guy, the sound guy, everything, set creation, all of those kind of things. We brought in our hurdle team together and we trained them. And so that's kind of what I did. And so I really thought when I came back home that for the most part, my media stuff was over.
Right.
And then I started working as a pastor, and I've been in ministry for over 40 years. 30 years of doing broadcast ministry, but that was the extent. And people started seeing our television broadcasts, our national broadcasts, and we were on 340 some stations across America at one point, and they started saying, man, y'all do things very well. So I had guys come in and they assumed that we had a major studio at the time. We didn't have anything major. We were on a peanut budget, shoestring budget, but we were doing national television. They was like, how are you doing this? There were things I learned in the industry, how to shoot quickly, make it look good, how to do things well. And I just started helping pastors because my heart was there. And now we have a television network. I'm president of a Bible college, and we have a television network with over 250,000 subscribers. Because of COVID-19 and people being home, Roku stations, Amazon Fire Stick, and getting ready to purchase a local television station in our city. We've been very blessed with a lot of opportunities. And churches, when I start looking at the production side of churches and looking at what they submit to me for broadcasting, it's usually not good.
Right.
And so my heart began helping churches. And so we built a media training class. The unfortunate reality is it was always only hands-on.
Right.
Everything I did was hands-on. So finally, people started saying to me, I mean, we're in Switzerland, we're in London, we're in Germany, we're in Jamaica, we're in Panama. We want to do this, and we're all over the United States, but we can't fly our people in. It would be so expensive, and we got a problem. So then people said, well, can you fly your team in? Right. And it would cost them thousands of dollars normally to fly our team in. And our team would be there for like 2 days and train them all day long and leave out. And then, but that meant that it was hard to get around everybody. I mean, scheduling. And so the question was asked to me, can you put together a hands-on workshop that can be done virtually?
Right.
And I was like, no, I can't do that. I mean, I don't do virtual. I hate virtual. I want to do hands-on. I'm like, I got to show you how to work that fader, and I got to show you how to. And I started doing research and started helping. And I started help desking churches that was asking questions. And I was like, darn, we are actually helping people out do things virtually. So, Brian, you are in your secular job,
right.
You are
software engineer.
You're software engineer. And so what does that entail?
So pretty much everything. So websites, mobile apps, any systems that you would use, technology and non-technical.
Podcasting, the whole nine yards.
Everything.
So with our combined knowledge and a team of instructors, what we're going to do is show you how to transform your church And the reason why we're doing this is because we realize that many churches have been affected. Some of y'all in church, some of you out of church, some of you going back, some of you are back, but you're not penetrating the same numbers that you were once penetrating. And you're trying to figure out how can you get your numbers up, get people to watch you? Is it production? What it means to develop a virtual church. This training is not just technical. It is technical. We're going to go over all the technicality of learning media ministry. Absolutely. We're going to cover everything. But then we're going to teach the practicalness, because pastors need to plug in this of what messages to teach for media ministry. And I wish you go back. What courses to teach and what stuff to cover and what messages to preach and how do you lay out the set and how do you do those kind of things. We want to cover those things and help churches transform their media ministry. Not just from the technical. We're going to have sound man training and all of those kind of things. But one of the things I run into is the media guy that says, Pastor, I don't really need this. I'm good. We good. The pastor that knows a little bit about production himself because he figured out StreamYard, a couple programs, and he was like, I'm good. We can do this. And I really don't need much help. And I'm going to ask you this question. Your numbers will show how good you really are. Even if you like it doing it yourself. If you're struggling with the numbers, you get a great production and you got 200 people watching you and it's 2 weeks later and you got 500 people or maybe 1,000 people that just watch your whole service, you have done something wrong. You need us to help show you how to effectively reach the message. Branding, some of those things that we're going to cover. We got a whole section by branding experts that we're going to cover. How to reach more numbers. There are campaigns, how to monetize giving as it relates to media ministry, and how to grow your church and your ministry by media ministry. One of the guys, during this time, I've helped virtual churches be birthed. These people don't have no building. They're virtual. I mean, I work with 5 or 6 virtual churches that utilize our facility. They don't have a building. Now, what's crazy is some of those virtual churches, their virtual congregation, one has 250 people. When they started, they had no members. But ready? They have a 75% giving ratio with their virtual church. So, and I'm looking as I set them, the giving options, as I help them set them up, they're doing excessively well. So this is something that the pastor, the media director, your staff that's concerned about reaching the nation want to attend this kind of workshop. Right. There are bishops, there are pastors, there are leaders, there are media experts, there are people that know, there's lighting guys and sound guys and flyer creator and website developers, everything that the ministry needs for media, from podcasting, green screening, finding out what equipment to buy. We're going to cover it in all. We're going to show you how to effectively reach people. So one of the things that people oftentimes say is, I know I'm pretty good. Well, pretty good does not work when you want to reach the world that we're living in. They just got through looking at a movie that was high end. They just got through looking at a whole book club or some connection club, and they're doing an effective job. There's a science, there's some behind the scenes stuff that no one's ever taught you that make ministry great. And let's just be honest, if I be direct with you, many of you are beating your head against the wall, trying to figure out how to grow and how to make it in this ever change. You don't know whether to do Clubhouse or TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, and you was like, I just need to find something else. I don't know whether to go on television. You don't know. We're going to answer your questions. One of the questions that people ask is, we don't have equipment yet. Right. So I'm going to wait to take this workshop, this conference after we get the equipment. The worst thing that you can do. to be honest with you, and I want you to look at me clearly, if you do not have the equipment, this is the perfect conference for you to go to, because you'll learn the strengths. And Vicky, and I want you to see me here. You to learn the strengths and the weaknesses of what equipment you need to know, because many times somebody's out there trying to sell you something and you don't need it. We're not in the business of selling equipment. So I'm not trying to hustle you on equipment. Well, the people that's going to sell us the equipment, they're going to train us. Let me help you with that. Many times that's not good. They're going to sell you something that you don't need. It's overkill. And then they're going to train you on it. They're taking advantage of you. So I kind of want to help churches understand that even if you don't have the equipment, this is the perfect time for them to train. We're going to train how to do stuff with no equipment. There are so many different options that are out there. Your lack of money is no reason why you can't do effective ministry. You say, well, Doc, that's easy for you to say. You know, you pastor a large church and you got all of this stuff going on. Listen to me. I used to pastor a storefront church. We were in a little building, storefront. Our church was 200 square feet. That was it. About the size of somebody's office. And we grew because of media ministry. My outlet and my media ministry and my travel ministry, I used to do 114 engagements a year because of media ministry. So we're going to cover some things that are going to help you. What is this, and what all are we going to cover are some things that people start asking,
Right.
if we're going to do that. And so one of the things that we often run into with churches is the sound man.
Right.
And so the sound man is always usually the one that they get frustrated with. And so many of you have switched to X32s and new digital boards, Yamaha boards and Allen and Heath boards, and you're struggling to understand how to operate these new boards because they're interactive with laptops, or you need to make that conversion. And you don't know what to do, or your sound man is clueless. And so we're going to teach you from start to finish in the sound man section of how to do it and the tricks to doing sound in media ministry, and how to do actually, if you've got one of those kind of boards, your sound quality should be amazing because you can lay 32, 40 some tracks of worship, go back in post-production, adjust it so you sound digital. There is no reason for your ministry not to sound just like Bishop Jakes or any of the iconic ministries that are Chuck Swindoll or any of the iconic ministries that are around because of the technology. What you need is someone to help you understand how to do that and how to go about it. And so I recommend that you grab your sound man. There's a section in this training for your sound man to plug in. The other thing is if sound is bad, the whole production is bad.
It's true.
What do you think about that?
Whew, sound is everything.
Yeah, I noticed on your podcast you got a new mic, and that might be what
your advice. Change the game.
It does, because most people don't understand that sound quality is important. What mics to use, what mics not to use. If you're doing a podcast, what stuff to do, what strengthens the effectiveness of what you're doing. Many people don't simply know. You know, one of the challenges is that most people in our life will not tell us the truth. Sometimes our stuff, we think in our own eyes is good, and it's not. it's just not clean. It's missing something. And many times people will not tell us the truth because they're just happy to see us doing something. But you know what will tell us the truth? The numbers. The numbers don't lie.
It's true.
If you've got 5,000 friends, but only 50 people have saw your stuff, something's wrong. And so I want to help you with the numbers.
Right.
And part of it is I'm going to show you the tricks of how guys get great numbers and how to build a subculture around your media platform that watches what you do and sees what you do and why people know to sign on to what you do and how to monetize that and how it works for you. One of the things is video editing. Many of us, there are tons of video editing. I mean, of course, you've got my all-time Final Cut, Sony Vegas, Premiere, DaVinci. There are all kinds of, and now there are some online apps that are where you edit online. There are tons of ones that are available now. Many times people they had trouble purchasing because they didn't have money. Now there are things that will allow you to do your media for what, $15 a month, $20 a month, and having editing software. You don't have to own it at once or put out a large amount of money because you just don't have it. Many times pastors don't know what kind of video machine, what to buy for their production. So especially if you have not spent any money already, this is definitely for you, the media guy, something that's spec'd out that will work, and places we cover of where to go to buy them. Because many times you don't know where to buy refurbs that will do the same job as something. So, for example, I'm looking at, I bought 10 i7s that were the 10th edition. And I spent peanuts on the dollar for each of the machines. That runs a whole lab for me. 5 i9s, peanuts on the dollar processors. Now, for you that are PC driven or even non-PC driven, if you're Apple driven, having an i9 processor is like gold. I mean, it's just like you smoking.
Absolutely.
So what I want to do is show you what to buy, where to buy it at, the prices, and it's stuff that you're not gonna, that Joe Blow's not gonna give it to you. And ready, I'm not gonna give you the information. I want to train you how to know what to buy, what editing software. We're gonna show you editing tricks, how to edit. So I edit broadcasts that should probably take about 2 hours to do in about 15 to 30 minutes. I got a science, multiple ones, how to knock them out in 30 minutes and have them amazing. I built a business with clients where I'm able to knock out broadcasts real quick. There's a whole science to that. Knowing what software to use and what, and ready, your media team, what software is easy, user-friendly, easy for your media team. And shortcuts and tricks. Now, one of the things is that, so Brian is a Mac man. I mean, he's Mac all day long. I'm a PC guy that's forced to use Mac. So we have Macs and PCs both in our studios. No, but he is a Mac guy. You know, he's going to always lean towards a Mac, and that's okay. And so there are conversionary software that can work on both platforms, and being able to do those petitions and knowing how to do those kind of things are things that we're going to show you, and what ones that are effective. You know, one of the questions is, many of you post and things asking questions of people that you could go to a workshop and just learn it. I heard a guy tell me the other day, he said, man, I could just go to YouTube and learn it. And I was like, in YouTube, the challenge is you can't ask the questions. In this online workshop, you're going to be able to ask the question of the experts, and in real time, we can answer you. Not where 5 people that don't know are giving you their suggestions or their idea because you saw it online and they posted and it don't work. And you like, I done spent my money and got all these things that they've recommended and it doesn't work. One of the things that we cover is stage design.
Right.
And stage design is amazing because churches and set designs, when we would work with political campaigns, and I'm so excited, kudos, we just got accepted. We did a bid with our president of the United States in terms of a show that's getting ready to come that was approved and accepted by the White House and so I'm really excited about that. But when it comes down to set design, that's a real big area when it comes down to set design because churches are always looking for a new look.
Right.
You may not need a renovation project, you need a set design. And you may have a set design for certain rooms, and everything you may not do is do green screen. You may find the need to do it and edit it and do it a certain way in your local church and to change it up. How do you do light boxes and designs? Some of you are using screens. Some of you are now going to LEDs. How to use those? Where are the best places to buy LED walls at? Is it China? Is it Japan? Where can you buy them for hundreds of dollars as opposed to thousands of dollars? How do you set up? What software do you need to use? These are things that most people struggle at being able to understand how to set up the right wall design. We cover that. We've changed churches' look completely overnight by creating the right kind of set design. And the key to it is we've showed them how to do it on a low budget. Because that's really the thing that churches struggle with.
It's true.
The money. I mean, we want to do all these things, but we can't afford to do it because it's expensive. And so because I'm a pastor, I understand what pastors, first of all, sound man, video man, I know exactly what pastors going to tell you. Pastors going to tell you we can't afford it. I want it, but we can't afford it. So I know what to tell you how to do it on a budget that pastor will agree to immediately, and designs and ideas and how to create them and how we went about doing stuff. Now, we're considered one of the premier ministries in some of the media stuff that we do and some of the things that I do, not because we're so great, but I've learned some things along the way that I think happens. One of the other things is not only set design, is how to maximize your views.
Right.
How to attract viewers and how to do that. Now, I know some of y'all saying, God, that's enough if it's weight in gold all by itself. It is how do you attract viewers? We're going to cover a whole section on branding your ministry and how to attract viewers. There's a whole section that's going to deal with that. And there's going to be a session you'll be able to go in and actually learn how to build your brand, how to attract views. Internet campaigns are becoming viral and developing a subcommittee. There are people I work with that may not necessarily be nationally known, but they are strong in their social media forums. And I don't know how to say it. Their ministries are getting the bag to do what they're called to do. Many of them want to do outreaches, and they can't do it by themselves. But there's someone that believes in what they believe in that finances and helps them support them. So you got to be able to connect with the right people to do the right thing.
Right.
So one of the things that we're going to cover in that is kind of doing those kind of things and how to maximize your views. The average person that I've worked with have went from, many people I work with, they have 100, 200 people. So I'm now working with people and they're ranging 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 views on videos. And you say, well, that's almost impossible because they only have 1,000 friends. That's an impossibility. If someone told you that's impossible, I'm going to show you how to change your numbers. One of the guys that I'm working with are showing numbers of over 100,000 people per month that are watching their thing. We're going to talk about whether you should be considering a Roku channel, whether you should be on television, what are the directions that you need to be able to go, and creative ways to do media and all the tools that it takes.
Right.
There's some innovative ideas out of there. Now, what is one of the things that you think that stop most churches from going forward with their media ministry?
Outside of that, just the commitment, not knowing what to do and not being able to afford how to do it.
Okay. And so one of the sections we cover is motivating the team.
Right.
See, most people don't realize that this is also a ministry. You got singers, you got preachers, you got people that are ushers, media ministry, motivating the team and how to be able to encourage team work and cooperative efforts is one of the things we teach.
Right.
That's a strategy to being able to mobilize people. Many times what happens in churches is you got one sound guy or one video guy or one guy doing both. And we've been there. I've been there as a pastor. That's a reason. That's a problem. It isn't that people are not talented, but maybe the recruitment effort or maybe the person that is working with them don't know the science of how to get volunteers and how to get people to commit. So we cover building the media ministry as in that respect. Gotcha. Recruitment efforts. How do you see them? And don't ever tell me, not in my church, ain't nobody gonna help. It's just impossible. I haven't met a church in America that we cannot help you grow and develop. From the church where the youngest member was 71 years old, and they have an effective media ministry. The youngest member of the church was 71 years old. You cannot tell me you can't do it. You just need the tools to be able to do it. And the next thing you said is budget.
Yeah.
So I work with a string of churches, and some of them are at different budget ratios. Some of them are storefront churches that are small. So I can show you on a low budget how to do a production that looked like you had a lot of money. The amazingness is that we train churches with big budgets and low budgets of how to work it. Because sometimes people have never showed you the tricks of the trade. I open up and show you how to do everything and everything well. Now, many leaders have struggled to do this thing, and you've done a pretty good job. Faring, you got on the ground and you try to figure this thing out. You didn't see this thing coming, and you got out here and you started just hustling, and you've learned a couple things. Well, now the hoopla is over because you started it. Now it needs to be perfected, and you don't really know how to do that. And you may have a good product, but nobody knows it. And how do you market that, and what's the next step, and how do you connect with people, and what should the videos be, and all of those kind of things? We're going to help you